was a random Wednesday night. I was already riding off of the high of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition being announced, but then Nintendo took it to a whole new level. Yeah! After years of making their soundtracks as inaccessible as possible, Nintendo was releasing their own music streaming app? Really? What's going on? If you don't already know, Nintendo is one of the worst copyright trolls on the internet. I mean, seriously, Nintendo makes Wario look generous. For a while, you had to be a part of their creators program to even post gameplay on YouTube. That's incredibly stupid. Nintendo has refused to put their music on platforms like Spotify or Apple Music, but when someone posts a song on YouTube, Nintendo is always quick to take it down. Now, Nintendo is finally making their music more available, but are they really? Nintendo Music is a streaming app that's locked behind the Switch Online service, so if you aren't subscribed, you can't use the app. I already have the online service, so I can get absolutely walloped in Splatoon 3, but what about the people that don't have the online service? Who is this app even made for? Answering that question is a bit tricky. I'm assuming that Nintendo is trying to appeal to both casual and hardcore fans alike, but those different groups of fans have very different interests and very different expectations from an app like this. I think ultimately it'll come down to the quality and pricing of the app, which, of course, are the most debated aspects of Nintendo Music. Nintendo Music is much more fleshed out than I ever would have expected from Nintendo. They've tried to make their own music players before with Smash Ultimate and Mario 3D All-Stars, but they've all been pretty lackluster. Not only is Nintendo Music its own app, but it has plenty of features that you'd expect from a big-name music streaming platform. You can make playlists, download songs, extend songs to 15 minutes or even an hour long, sort songs by characters, and there are even specialized playlists that are based on the mood of a song. The UI reminds me of YouTube Music a lot, and it's super clean and smooth. I've already been hard at work making playlists with my favorite Nintendo songs, and I've loved it. Every time I use Nintendo Music, I have to stop and remind myself that this is real. I genuinely never thought Nintendo would make something like this. It works so well too. There's no better way to boost your productivity than by shuffling songs from the Breath of the Wild soundtrack and getting to work. It's been a great addition to a subscription service that already has plenty of value. There are some pretty big issues though. Not every soundtrack I usually listen to is here. Nintendo Music launched with only 23 soundtracks, most of them being from Switch games. Now, don't get me wrong, we've got some amazing soundtracks here. There are soundtracks spanning nearly every Nintendo console, with soundtracks like Dr. Mario, Ocarina of Time, Metroid Prime, Super Mario Galaxy, and Breath of the Wild. You can even listen to songs from Wii channels. It's been a huge nostalgia trip going through the different songs available. The Wii menu music alone can bring tears to my eyes, and don't even get me started on Gusty Garden Galaxy. Even songs from Super Mario Odyssey make me feel nostalgic, and it feels like that game didn't even come out that long ago. Still though, there were plenty of soundtracks missing at launch. There weren't any 3DS or Wii U soundtracks, so you couldn't listen to some bangers like Tomodachi Life, Pilotwings Resort, or Miitopia. The Wii literally only had Super Mario Galaxy and the Wii channels, so if you wanted to listen to the Wii Sports Resort soundtrack, tough luck. If you wanted to listen to any other GameCube soundtrack than Metroid Prime, well, better luck next time. Nintendo has confirmed that they'll be adding more soundtracks over time, and at least at the time of making this video, it seems like it might be on a weekly basis. They added the soundtrack for Super Mario Wonder on the first Friday that Nintendo Music was available, so I'm guessing that Nintendo is trying to imitate a traditional music release schedule with Nintendo Music. I get that Nintendo opted for this release schedule rather than dropping it all at once so that they can keep Nintendo Music relevant, but it's still annoying. I don't know when the soundtracks I want will be added, or if they even will be added, so why would I keep using Nintendo Music if there's no guarantee they'll be added anytime soon? I listen to songs from the Xenoblade series all the time, but at the time of making this video, not a single Xenoblade soundtrack is on the service. What am I supposed to do? Just twiddle my thumbs and pray to the Nintendo gods? No! The release cadence is supposed to keep people coming back every week to see if Nintendo added a soundtrack they like, but in reality, I doubt it will work out this way for most people. I'm sure it'll be exciting to check back every week, but after a while, people will lose interest. If I had to guess, people will likely abandon the app entirely and then periodically check back to see if any of their favorite soundtracks have been added. And as much as I love Nintendo soundtracks, they're not the only ones that I listen to. Games like Katamari Damacy, Minecraft, and Stardew Valley all have banger soundtracks that I listen to all the time. Those aren't Nintendo games though, so they won't be available on the Nintendo Music app. If I want to listen to all of my favorite video game soundtracks, I'll have to switch between Nintendo Music and a regular music streaming service like Apple Music, which is incredibly inconvenient. I I want all of my songs in one place. I don't want to hop around. If I want to make a playlist with both Sweden and Gerudo Valley, I should be able to. The reality though is that I can't, and that's a shame. There's a very similar situation going on with PC gaming. On PC, you buy games through different stores or launchers like Steam. For a good bit though, plenty of companies tried making their own launchers to compete with Steam. Activision made Battle.net, Ubisoft made Ubisoft Connect, and EA made Origin. But nobody liked those. There were plenty of complaints, but the biggest one was that it required PC gamers to have to split their games between different launchers. Rather than having all of your games in one place on Steam, you'll have to go through the hassle of using multiple launchers and managing multiple accounts. It was a huge inconvenience. After plenty of backlash, all of these companies eventually somewhat stepped away, if not entirely, from their proprietary launchers and brought their games over to Steam. Nintendo is the Battle.net or the Ubisoft Connect in this situation, and it's pretty inconvenient. I shouldn't have to split my time between different apps. That's a royal pain in the rear. Plus, I bet that Nintendo would have made more money if they just released their songs on music streaming services anyway. Spotify is notorious for paying their artists poorly, sure, but even still, I bet that Nintendo would still make more money via Spotify since there's less of a barrier to entry. You don't have to pay money to listen to Spotify, unlike Nintendo Music. And most other video game soundtracks are on Spotify too, so you can have every soundtrack you like in one place. I shouldn't have to go through the hassle of having multiple apps for music. Convenience has been one of the most important aspects of streaming, so when you take it away, what's the point? Bringing Nintendo soundtracks to other streaming services would also be a great way to bring in the casual audience. Everybody's played Mario Kart, but not everybody is invested enough in Nintendo to subscribe to the online service and use Nintendo Music. If Nintendo's soundtracks were on Spotify, someone could listen to a song like Coconut Mall and feel nostalgic for Mario Kart Wii and then be inspired to go ahead and buy a Switch and a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Even Nintendo admitted that. When asked why they made Nintendo Music, they responded, "We believe that if Nintendo Music reminds you of your favorite gaming experiences, it will also inspire you to want to play the games again." I'm sure that Nintendo Music would be a marketing weapon if it was more accessible to casual gamers. So many more people would get back into Nintendo games. I honestly don't get why Nintendo passed up on that opportunity. Another huge issue is that Nintendo Music isn't the only way to listen to Nintendo's soundtracks. Sure, I was just complaining that Nintendo didn't put any of their songs on other music streaming services, but that doesn't mean that regular people haven't. Sure, Nintendo hasn't officially released their songs on YouTube, but you can find pretty much every Nintendo song on YouTube. And at this point, everybody interested in Nintendo's soundtracks has already established their own way of listening to them. So Nintendo actually has competition here. They need to win me over to get me to use this app. If I'm gonna ditch YouTube and make Nintendo Music my main app for listening to Nintendo soundtracks, it's gotta be better than what I already have. That's made plenty of people ask the question, why would I switch from YouTube to Nintendo Music? YouTube has pretty much any soundtrack you could want, and that's for free. You could make the argument that you won't be able to listen to those soundtracks ad-free on YouTube, and you won't be able to listen to them with your screen off. But if you already have a YouTube Music Premium or YouTube Premium membership, that won't be a problem for you. And even if you aren't subscribed to YouTube Music, you could technically download all the soundtracks you want, upload them to your own personal YouTube Music account, and listen to them there with premium features without having to pay for them. Apple Music subscribers are also able to upload their own music to the servers and listen to them through Apple Music. So there are plenty of methods other than Nintendo Music that are arguably better than what Nintendo Music has to offer. So although Nintendo Music is an amazing addition for people that are already subscribed to the Nintendo Switch Online service, if you're not already subscribed, is it really worth buying a subscription for? Despite everything I've said, I believe it is. There's no doubt that the app is meant to fill in the gaps in Nintendo's financial year. With the Switch 2 looming in the distance and Switch sales steadily falling, Nintendo is trying to pump up their sales figures in more creative ways. They released a Nintendo-themed alarm clock, held a playtest that was exclusive to Switch Online expansion pack members, and now they've released Nintendo Music. Still though, I 100% believe that Nintendo Music is worth the $20 for a year's subscription. I pay $11 a month for Apple Music, and it has many similar features. Of course, Nintendo Music doesn't have nearly as big of a catalog as a service like Apple Music or Spotify, but still, I've found that $20 a year is a fair price for Nintendo Music, even if you don't use anything else that the online service has to offer. Nintendo Music seems to mirror the online service itself. The Switch Online service launched in a severely underwhelming state. It was charging for online multiplayer, something we already had for free, and it offered a lackluster catalog of NES games. Over time though, Nintendo has made plenty of additions, like game trials and a ton of new retro games to play. People have become more accepting of the online service since now it's actually worth the money. It seems as though Nintendo Music will be the same way. Like I said earlier, Nintendo Music's features are are all fleshed out very well. You've got all the standard features you'd expect from a regular music streaming service, like the ability to make playlists, queue up songs, download songs for when you're offline, etc. One of the biggest strengths of Nintendo Music is how well it organizes different songs. There are many different playlists, each with their own theme. There are some playlists centered around a specific character, so it would have songs that the character either sings in, or songs that appear in a game that character also appeared in. That specific feature will be a godsend for Splatoon fans. There are also playlists centered around a certain mood, like hyped, relaxed, sleepy, happy, sad, you name it. You can even listen to playlists based on certain scenarios, like a playlist with Pokemon battle themes or a playlist with overworld themes. Like I said, this app has taken organization to another level. My favorite feature, hands down, is that each soundtrack has both a list of every song on the game and a list of the most popular songs from that game. It's a great way to get rid of quick songs that might only be a few seconds long, or songs from lesser known parts of the game. It saved me the hassle of making an individual playlist for each game I like, which was awesome. A major downside to the app and its organization, though, is that it doesn't credit any composers. If I'm in the mood to just listen to songs by Koji Kondo, I can't do that. Even worse, people unaware of who he is won't be able to find out who he is because he's not even listed under any of his songs on the app. Outside of the lack of proper credits and the lack of soundtracks, Nintendo Music is overall a solid app. It's got the same level of quality I'd expect from any other music streaming service, all with a Nintendo charm. This still hasn't answered the question though. Who is Nintendo Music for? I don't think Nintendo Music is meant to convince you to buy the online service, but instead, it's aimed at people like me who already have it, and it's really only there to sweeten the deal. Nintendo Music is meant to keep you subscribed to the online service, not to get you to subscribe in the first place. It's an amazing app, but it's lacking in a few departments. That's not to say that it'll never get there, but it's likely going to take some time. Nintendo has been including 3-month online service memberships with their games more often lately. They included a 3-month code with copies of Super Mario Party Jamboree, and will be including them with copies of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I think that Nintendo's strategy here is to get more people to try out the online service, and then use Nintendo Music to keep them subscribed. All in all, I believe that Nintendo Music is more of a marketing tool than a true feature for the online service. Although it definitely requires some work, I think it's an amazing addition to a service that already has proven its worth. As annoying as it is to wait for new soundtracks, I'd be lying if I said that it didn't create any sort of excitement for me to check out the app every week. I cannot wait to see how the app improves, and I can't wait to see what soundtracks we get in the weeks to come.